Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. Back in 2014, the do-it-yourself chain B&Q, you know, they wanted the slogan, if you want to do it, B&Q it. They were in the headlines because of their selling mole repellents in their stores in Ireland. Now you might well say, well, hang on, what's the problem with that? You know, is it because moles are considered to be cute? I remember as a kid, growing up, we had Wind in the Willows and Toad of Toad Hall. And of course, Mole, the little furry, cuddly mole with glasses because he was short-sighted, he was one of the children's characters in those stories. Now, moles aren't actually that pleasant at all. When I was talking to my daughter about moles, she said, oh, moles are horrible things. But why? Well, because she had never forgotten being told about how moles keep worms fresh in order to eat them. Basically, when moles catch worms, they sometimes catch more than they can eat and they want to store them up. But if they just leave them there, of course, the worms will burrow away. So what the moles do is they bite the heads off the worms, which keeps, actually the worms, they're still alive without a head, but they can't burrow because the way that a worm burrows is with its mouth. It actually eats the soil and excretes it from its rear end. And so whenever the mole bites the head off the worm can't go anywhere, and yet they still stay nice and fresh so the mole can eat them for tomorrow or the day after for its dinner. But no, the whole thing about B&Q was nothing about whether moles are cute or moles are nasty. Now, I can understand why a do-it-yourself store would want to sell mole repellent, because, of course, moles they leave big piles of earth in people's lawns. They also leave them on golf courses. In fact, there are in the rules of golf, there's special rules about what to do if your ball hits a mound created by a mole on a golf course. So I can understand why B&Q would want to sell in different places mole repellents, but the reason why they were in the headlines for trying to sell them in Ireland, it wasn't because they were cruel. I mean, they were sonic ones. They just emit a high-pitched sound that drives the moles away. No, the problem about selling mole repellent repellers in Ireland is that we don't have any moles in Ireland. In fact, we haven't had any moles living in Ireland for 7,000 years, since the last ice age. Now, they have them over in Britain, they have them in many other countries, but they don't have moles in Ireland. We don't have any of them here. So B&Q were stocking these mole repellers, which basically were absolutely useless, selling them in their stores in Ireland because nobody's ever going to have a problem with moles in their garden. Now, I don't know whether people bought them or not. You see, sometimes we worry about things that haven't happened yet in case they happen. So if somebody was just waiting until they had a problem with moles before they would buy a mole repeller, then I guess the B&Q would never sell any of them in Ireland. But then there are some people who will see them there and say, oh my goodness, if I get moles, that would be dreadful. I better buy one of these just in case. You know, Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Today's trouble is enough for today. You know, we've got enough problems to deal with today without worrying about what might happen in the future, without getting worked up about things that haven't happened yet and may never happen. You know what? To worry about something that hasn't happened yet is like buying a mole repeller whenever there's not the slightest chance you're ever going to have a mole appearing in your garden because you live in Ireland. Let's concentrate on today. Let's deal with the stuff that we need to deal with today, but let's follow the words of Jesus and not waste our time worrying about stuff that might happen. I pray that today you will have a great day. I pray you have an anxiety-free day. If you do face problems, I pray you overcome them in Jesus' name. And join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.